Hello everyone, welcome back to Drawn by Annie channel. This is me, Annie, and I will be drawing for you today. Grab your tea, coffee and snacks and let's dive into today's video. I've been back to playing League of Legends recently, and I've been back into my obsession with two of the favorite couple characters that I love to play with my friend as. And I decided I would do another fan art, but this time I'm gonna use alcohol-based markers to color it and see how much different it will look like. So the character for today's artwork is Rakan, the charming battle dancer of League of Legends best couple. I don't know if or when I will be able to draw Zaya the same way, but today I'm going to work on coloring two headshots where I was trying to play around with different proportions and different facial features. And also I wanted to practice a full body art and the male body and anatomy, and I think Rakan's style is actually perfect because his design reveals part of his body and I get to practice some muscles. Drawing muscles. So when I was working on a first headshot, I actually was heavily referencing the original artwork and I kind of wanted to mimic the original facial features, so I went for a more curved nose and slightly different angle for the eyes, and overall look of the face looks a little bit more flattened as the eyes, nose and lips are kind of closer together, so he appears to have a bigger forehead and a chin. Also, the hair strand and the ears appear a little bit different shape on the first try and the second one, and as well as the cloak shape is also much wider on the first attempt than the second one. So every detail here and there kind of sums up in a whole different silhouette. So the first try is more like a wider shape and the second silhouette is much taller. All of the details that I've mentioned before, so the ears, hair strand, the cloak, and also the facial features proportions to each other like eyes, nose and lips. In the second portrait, if you give a little closer look, it looks all taller. So if the first try is more flattened but wide, so the second one is actually vice versa, so it's taller and more narrow, if that makes sense. You will see all these differences when I'm done coloring both of them, and they are kind of side by side. There are many similarities amongst them as well, and also in my color applications for both of them I'm going to follow the same pipeline. So the usual things, I'm gonna apply the base color first and then work gradually on my layers, so adding more shades and emphasizing the highlights with lighter and white colors, probably with acrylic paint or a white gel pen. So the base color is going to be done with alcohol-based markers, which are semi-transparent and they are mixing with each other very well, as Rakan's design has a very interesting element, which is the brooch with feathers. It's a perfect medium to color that kind of stuff because I can easily make a gradient color. So the purple part is going to be on the edge of the feathers and the more pinkish part is going to be deeper into the brooch center, or like the skull part of the brooch. And I have also a variety of tints and colors, so I can play around with shininess of Rakan's hair and also the edge of his cloak. But generally I'm going to use same colors for both of the portraits and also the full body coloring. This time I'm not gonna spend much time on the line art, unlike I usually do with my other artworks, because I have like a lot of elements on this page I want to finish and I don't want it to take forever. So I'm going to try and be quick about the line art and everything. So I'm just gonna put light lines with a thin liner on both portraits and maybe give some silhouette with a thicker liner or a brush liner. I don't know, I just feel like I very much appreciate such outline on the borders of the silhouette because it gives this old style superhero comic finish and I'm kind of into that. Totally not stolen, but inspired. I'm not sure why exactly I fell for Rakan and Zaya. Maybe because they are from Vastaya race, which is kinda reminding me of my own art project, Lyria World. They are also demi-human, so humans with some animalistic traits, and Rakan and Zaya are very much like Lyrians, and if there would ever be a collaboration with League of Legends and Lyria World, they would fit in so perfectly. I'm not a big expert on League of Legends lore or anything, but I feel like Ionia and Vastayans are very much alike with what I make in Lyria World, like all of those magic and spirits and nature and everything like that. The only difference from League in Lyria is that the magic is originating with resonance, so sound magic, and everything is connected through it. So all the magic, spirits, and alchemy stuff is all connected through resonance. Unlike in the League, I think there is like a wild magic, like rune magic, and there's also Hextech magic, which is more presented in Arcane series. So anyway, I just kind of see some similarities, and I really like how they could be compatible with each other. I mean, I would probably piss my pants off if such a big game developer like Riot Games or League of Legends would be collaborating with my tiny little role-playing art project, you know. I think all artists secretly are dreaming about their little art projects becoming popular and having like a collaboration with something popular at hand or something. Or am I the only one guilty of this? Anyway, it's time to color the full body part of the sketch. And just like with the headshots, I'm applying the base coloring first and then working on my layers by adding more and more colors. So shadows and highlights, and this time I'm also adding a little bit of acrylic paint marker, just the white one, to give it a little bit more shininess on his pants and cloak. In digital art you would do it on a separate layer and switch the setting to either overlay or lighten or something like that, but in traditional medium you don't have such luxury, so I'm just using my only option to lighten up a little bit the colors that I already applied with acrylic paint marker in white color. For some reason it's not as opaque as the others, so it's kind of perfect to lighten up a little bit and give more of a texture and details on the design. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do, but that's what I'm gonna do when I'm gonna be closing to the finishing of the coloring. So firstly the base colors, then some shading, then some highlights, details, and the line art. A recipe for a perfectly looking fan art, if you ask me. I'm gonna try and swatch all of the main colors of Rakan's design on this page. I'm not gonna put every color that I'm going to use, just to save some space and some time. And honestly, it's not that big of a deal, so if you're using similar colors, it's going to look more or less similar to the artwork that I'm doing right now, and I'm just kind of trying to mimic the same palette as the digital art of Rakan. So if you don't have these specific colors, you can just go as close as you can with whatever you have on hand, and I'm sure it will look just as good. After all, it's not about one specific color on the whole palette, it's about overall picture, you know? If only one color is off, it's not going to affect the overall picture that much anyway. And with some editing magic, this picture now has been officially finished! Yay! Thank you very much for joining me in this drawing video. I really hope you like my interpretation of Rakan from League of Legends. Tell me down in the comments if you want me to draw Zaya in the same manner. And of course, if you have any questions, inputs, opinions, tips for me, you can also leave them down below. I will be very happy to read them. Thank you so much for all of your support, your likes, your comments, and your channel subscriptions. You can also check out my other social media. I have left some links in the description to this video. I'm wishing you a wonderful beginning of spring, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye!